It's built out of treated sleepers, homegrown bamboo. Material selection's key. So this completes the frames for that little garden bed. Cutting our next pillar. Anyway, sometimes you've got to design as you go. Straightest ones for the verticals. They fit a 25mm drill bit. Front yard garden redesign.
Close the door and leave the light on. The morning light should be coming soon. Kick off your shoes and leave the winter and the pain it brings to you. Lay your head upon my shoulder. Shut off your thoughts and clear your mind.
This bamboo screen was part of this whole front yard garden redesign, where we put down terracotta pavers with hexagonal terracotta tile and put a golden path around the front of it. So it's been a 3-stage process, and it's now a complete front yard ready for the plants to grow into it. So follow me through this process. It's how we went through all the different stages. It's built out of treated sleepers, which are clad over a steel awning system, which we designed for this plant to grow up, eventually fill it out with a nice sort of semi-private screen out of homegrown bamboo, bound together with sort of decorative cotton binding. How we created dowel holes to get a nice, neat, secure contact point for the bamboo into these treated pine timbers. Frame out the whole area, create a little doorway threshold here. The idea is for this plant to be able to grow up in this bamboo trellis. So join me as I take you through all the process of building out this nice green screen privacy trellis.
Now I'm old and I think of that day, those words I could only find as I sit by your side on our back porch. The days never left my mind. And I saw you walking down the road, summer breeze blowing through your hair.
Yeah, today we're going to build a custom screen over this area here. Our previous project of the paving will be more of a private courtyard kind of a feeling, using bamboo that was grown by the customer. We've already rough cut the bamboo to size. We're going to be getting some treated timber. Material selection's key. Get nice straight pieces. When you pick up your timber from your supplier and stack it on your trailer, and then stack it ready for work, is do a bit of material selection as you go. So I've sort of stacked all the absolutely straight ones in one pile and the sort of ones that aren't so straight in the other, although I weeded out any really bad ones when I was at the wood supplier. Perfectly straight, slightly warped in a different, thicker configuration over here. Material selection is always part of using the best pieces for the best spots, and then you can burn up your wonky bits of wood in areas where it doesn't matter so much. The first stage of this job is to clad this steel frame with our treated pine timbers, as they will be the support system for the bamboo. I always start my projects out with some sort of concept drawing, so I can draw out what I'm going to build, add measurements to it, and help work my materials out. The first piece in this project is going to be the beam that goes across the entire structure. It's a thicker material than the timber we're going to use to clad the upright posts. This particular piece is going to need notching out for some of the existing steel structure. We cut our notches out by making multiple cuts in small slices and then finishing it off with a chisel. Then we cut it to the right size so it fits inside the steel carport structure. We then install the beam using heavy timber screws and then add one of our vertical posts for extra strength. So this morning we're going to frame out this void here for the plant that's going to grow up in between this bamboo. We've excavated the hole here in between the pavers ready for our timber that's set up here on our bench. I'm just going to rip down this timber and cut it to size. I ripped down a 200mm wide plank into 150mm because that's the appropriate depth. After using miter cuts for our corners, we installed everything in place.
Now I'm old and I think of that day, those words I could only find as I sit by your side on our back porch. The days never left my mind.
So this completes the frames for that little garden bed. We had to get that garden bed finished because we were going to be building on top of it. So we're just continuing on to frame this out. We've got our 2 inside pieces up. We're now going to be working on this outside post to match this post we've put over here.
I remember that feeling, all the times I saw you smile. By the time I moved, you were almost gone. I'm glad you said more than hello.
Yeah, we're just cutting our next pillar.
Years ago, when I was young, before I knew my worth.
Part of the design for the treated timber frame that holds the bamboo was to have beveled edges on it. So we used our electric plane to get a bevel on the edge of these timbers.
And I saw you walking down the road, summer breeze blowing through your hair. By the time I moved, you were almost gone, and I didn't know what to say.
We hold our treated timber beam in place with our clamps, ready to fix off with screws.
I remember that day you gave me a smile as I got closer to you.
So we're just taking a little moment here to figure out our design of how we're going to incorporate this sort of walkway area through here, where to make the frame flush. Anyway, sometimes you got to design as you go.
By the time I moved, you were almost gone, and I didn't know what to say.
So we just got this piece in, which I had to sort of pre-assemble. And we're just going to put this filler piece in because we're trying to tidy up this sort of zone.
Now I'm old and I think of that day, those words I could only find. I sit by your side on our back porch, that days never left my mind. And I saw you walking down the road, summer breeze blowing through your hair.
I just want to talk about laying out your screws in a neat way. These are all measured from the bottom and then every 400. And so I'm carrying this round. Already put these screws in. I'm about to drill those out. That's also part of just keeping your project neat. And that's just going to keep a neat appearance with all your materials if all your screws and bolts line up. Always pre-drill the screw holes so you don't split the wood and put too much stress on the timber, which will later lead to splitting.
I remember that day you gave me a smile as I got closer to you. All I could do was talk about the weather and when we go back to school. I saw you walking down the road, summer breeze blowing through your hair. By the time I moved, you were almost gone, and I didn't know what to say.
The other advantage about putting pilot holes is you can line up all your screws ready to sink them. So they're just resting in the holes ready to be put in with that driver.
I remember that feeling, all the times I saw you smile. By the time I moved, you were almost gone. I'm glad you said more than hello.
away you go down the line. Speeds things up, keeps it all neat and clean. So I've been sorting them, keeping the 3 straightest ones for the verticals and the rest which are a little wavy for the horizontal ones. And also cutting all these thick ends off so they fit a 25mm drill bit for our holes in the frame of the timber. After sorting all our bamboo pieces, we cut them to the exact length and got them ready for assembly. The next step in this process was to prepare the piece of treated pine timber that was going to hold all the bamboo. This piece of timber was going to sit between our 2 post pieces in a slot of a specific custom width. We ripped down one of our sleepers to fit this gap and then went to prepare it for drilling the holes that the bamboo was going to go into. After checking the diameter of our bamboo, we realised that most of the bamboo would fit in a 25mm hole, but some would need a slightly larger hole to keep a nice tight custom fit. We marked out our piece of timber that was going to have the holes drilled in it with even intervals so we could lay out a nice tight grid of bamboo. I set myself up on sawhorses to drill out the holes for the bamboo, as it's always important to have a safe and stable environment for doing your work. We also drilled 25mm holes in our horizontal beam for the 3 pieces that would lie vertically. Once all our holes were drilled and the bamboo was all cut to length, we were ready to start assembling the bamboo frame inside our timber frame that we'd built previously. Assembling the bamboo in our timber frame was a little tricky, as the bamboo is specifically cut a little longer than the space there is inside the frame. This is to help lock the bamboo in and make it really strong. With all our bamboo securely in place inside our frame, it was time to bind the bamboo together. We used a combination of wire and twine. We selected key points to tie with wire, and then we overlaid it with twine. This was quite a long and tedious process, but very enjoyable after all the work we'd done to get to this point.
Years ago, when I was young, before I knew my worth, I dreamed up ways to talk to you, but I never seemed to find the chance. And I saw you walking down the road, summer breeze blowing through your hair. By the time I moved, you were almost gone, and I didn't know what to say. I remember that day you gave me a smile as I got closer to you. All I could do was talk about the weather and when we go back to school. I saw you walking down the road, summer breeze blowing through your hair. By the time I moved, you were almost gone, and I didn't know what to say.
This part of the process of this project is quite tedious and repetitive, but if you relax and enjoy it, it can become a meditative experience and very enjoyable. Just enjoy the sun on your face, maybe put some nice music on, and just tie the many pieces of bamboo that we have to attach together.
Now I'm old and I think of that day, those words I could only find as I sit by your side on our back porch. The days never left my mind. And I saw you walking down the road, summer breeze blowing through your hair. By the time I moved, you were almost gone, and I didn't know what to say. I remember that feeling, all the times I saw you smile. By the time I moved, you were almost gone. I'm glad you said more than hello.
Join me in the next episode. Here's a preview of what we'll be covering. Thanks for joining me this week on my YouTube channel. Check the link below, and while you're at it, hit the subscribe button or make a comment so I can help you with your future construction solutions. And don't forget to follow our channel for more ideas and how-to tips for home and garden projects.